You think you judge people fairly. You believe your decisions are rational, logical, based on evidence. But psychology reveals something quietly unsettling. The moment you find someone attractive or confident, your brain has already decided they are smarter, kinder, and more trustworthy than everyone else in the room. And you did it without noticing. Think about the last time you met someone who walked in with presence. Good posture, a calm voice, a face that the room naturally turned toward. Did you find yourself agreeing with them more easily? Giving them the benefit of the doubt? Assuming their ideas were more intelligent before they even finished speaking? Most people do, and most people never realize it. This is not a personal weakness. It is a systematic error built into the human mind, one that operates silently, beneath the surface of every judgment you make about other people. It shapes who gets promoted, who gets believed, who gets forgiven, who gets power, and almost no one is taught to see it. The concept driving everything we are about to explore is called the halo effect. And once you understand how it works, you will never look at social dynamics the same way again. Robert Greene, in The Laws of Human Nature, wrote that most people sleepwalk through their social world, reacting to appearances, emotional energy, and surface-level signals, without ever questioning why. Sun Tzu understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. In The Art of War, he recognized that the perception of strength is often more powerful than strength itself. The general who appears undefeatable commands a battlefield before a single weapon is drawn. And Machiavelli, the most precise student of human nature who ever lived, wrote plainly in The Prince, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." The Cease thinkers did not simply understand strategy. They understood that human beings are not rational creatures who occasionally feel emotion. We are emotional creatures who occasionally think rationally. And the halo effect is one of the most powerful illustrations of that truth. In the next few minutes, you will understand the psychological mechanism that makes your brain attach invisible qualities to attractive or confident people. Why this illusion creates real-world advantages that most people never earn through merit alone. How social perception silently shapes power, trust, and opportunity. And how understanding this effect transforms the way you carry yourself and the way you see others. Stay with this, because what comes next goes deeper than most people are willing to look. The halo effect was first identified by psychologist Edward Thorndike in 1920. His research revealed something striking. When we perceive one positive quality in a person, our minds automatically assume they possess many others. Attractive face, therefore competent, honest, intelligent, warm, confident posture. Therefore, capable, trustworthy, worthy of authority. The brain does not want to hold contradictory information. It wants a clean narrative, so it builds one instantly, unconsciously, and incorrectly. Imagine two candidates applying for the same role, same qualifications, same experience. One walks in slightly more composed, makes steady eye contact, and speaks with measured calm. The other is equally talented, but nervous, slightly rushed, and avoids direct eye contact. Who gets the role? The composed one. Almost every time. Not because they were more qualified, but because the brain placed an invisible crown on their head and filled in the gaps with assumed competence. The mindset shift: other people are not being evaluated on who they are. They are being evaluated on what they project, and so are you. Here's where it becomes more interesting. The halo effect does not just affect hiring decisions or first impressions. It shapes how much people trust you, how much they forgive you, how much grace they extend when you make a mistake. Studies in behavioral psychology show that attractive or confident individuals receive lighter sentences in legal settings, more favorable evaluations in academic environments, and faster promotions in professional ones. Not because of performance, but because of perception. Think about that for a moment. The philosopher in this story is not Machiavelli at his most cynical. It is Sun Tzu at his most practical. Appear strong when you are weak. appear weak when you are strong. He was describing perception management, centuries before the concept had a name. The general who projects unshakable calm commands trust, even when the situation is uncertain, because the perception of control becomes, socially, the reality of control. The mindset shift. Trust is not given based on who you are. It is given based on what people believe you are. Managing that perception is not deception. It is emotional intelligence. Now consider what happens when the halo effect meets confidence. Specifically, confidence is perhaps the most contagious social signal a human being can project. It bypasses the analytical mind entirely. When someone speaks with certainty, the people around them assume that certainty is around, that there's something behind it worth deferring to. This is why charismatic but incompetent leaders rise. This is why the loudest voice in the room is often mistaken for the most intelligent one. The brain conflates conviction with truth. Robert Greene identified this as one of the core mechanics of power in the 48 Laws of Power. Project confidence so consistently that doubt never finds a surface to attach to. A quiet person who speaks rarely but with complete certainty carries more psychological weight than a highly intelligent person who qualifies every statement with hesitation. It is not about arrogance. It is about signal clarity. The mindset shift confidence does not announce itself. It simply does not apologize. But here's the most interesting part of the halo effect. It is not just what it causes other people to do. It is what it reveals about how little of their judgment is actually theirs. Most people believe they are choosing, evaluating, deciding, but they are largely responding to energy, to appearance, to the invisible architecture of social signals that operate beneath conscious awareness. Which means this: the person who understands the halo effect holds information that others do not know they lack. That asymmetry is quietly powerful. The halo effect has a darker twin, the devil's horn effect. If someone creates a negative first impression, appears nervous, disheveled, or uncertain, the same cognitive mechanism works in reverse. The brain assumes incompetence, untrustworthiness, and weakness again. Before evidence arrives, one bad signal, infinite negative assumptions. This is why Machiavelli warned so carefully about appearances, not because he was shallow, but because he was deeply realistic about human nature. He understood that most people never move past surface-level judgment. They do not have the patience, the time, or the self-awareness to do so. Men judge by their eyes rather than their hands, he wrote, for everyone can see, but very few can feel. The mindset shift. The world responds to the signal before it investigates the source. Protect the signal. The final and most powerful application of this understanding is restraint. People who speak too much reveal their anxiety. They fill silence with noise because silence feels dangerous. But silence, used correctly, is one of the most powerful social tools available. When you speak less, people project meaning onto your silence. They assume depth where there may simply be calm. The halo effect fills the gap, and it fills it with what they are already inclined to believe about you based on your overall presence. Sun Tzu understood that the battle won before it begins is won in the mind of the opponent. A warrior who never betrays his thoughts commands the terrain before a move is made. The mindset shift. Say less. Let perception work in your silence. What Thorndike discovered in 1920, Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, and Greene had already mapped centuries before. Just without the laboratory, the halo effect is not a glitch in human cognition. It is a feature of a mind that evolved to make rapid judgments under pressure. The problem is that we now live in a world where rapid judgments shape careers, relationships, not battles. The person who understands this does not exploit it cynically. They use it consciously. They understand that managing perception is not dishonesty. It is the oldest and most underrated form of intelligence. Understanding the halo effect changes three things permanently. First, you stop taking social judgments personally because you understand they are rarely about you. They are about the signal you projected in a specific moment. Second, you begin to invest in composure, clarity, and presence, not as performance, but as communication. Because how you carry yourself speaks before you do. Third, you become a more accurate reader of other people, because you start asking not who they are, but what signal they are projecting, and why you are responding to it. Observation replaces reaction. And that quiet shift is where real psychological power begins. Most people move through life believing they see people clearly. They do not. They see signals, surfaces, projections shaped by the brain's need for narrative coherence. The halo effect is not just a cognitive bias. It is a reminder that human beings are profoundly influenced by perception, and that the gap between who you are and who you appear to be is where much of life is silently decided. Machiavelli understood this. Sun Tzu built strategy around it. Robert Greene spent decades mapping it, and now you see it too. Which means you have a choice available to very few people. Raw you can move through the world unconsciously, reacting to how others appear, unaware of how you appear to them. Or you can become a student of perception, calm, observant, deliberate. As Greene wrote, the greatest power is the power to make others see what you want them to see, without them ever knowing they're looking. If this idea shifted the way you see human behavior, subscribe for more psychological and philosophical insights that most people never encounter. And drop one word in the comments below. The word that stayed with you after watching this. If that word is perception, you already understand more than most.